At the end of this week's Parsha, we have the story of Miriam and her two brothers, Moshe and Aaron. Miriam learned that Moshe had separated from his wife. She thought it was interesting. No other Navi was obligated to separate from their spouse. So she spoke about it with Aaron. That was considered Lashon Hara. So Hashem called the three of them together. And Hashem told them, Miriam, you spoke Lashon Hara, and you have to understand that there's a whole different story going on here. Moshe is a different story than all of the other Nevi'im, and that's why he's doing something that no other Navi does. So, in the end of the Parsha, Miriam got tzaras, and she was outside of the tent for 7 days. And this teaches us a big lesson about Lashon Hara. It teaches us that just like Miriam, if you look at the case of Miriam, she had no ill intention against her brother. She was a tremendous tzaddikus, and still the punishment for Lashon Hara was tzara. She was outside for 7 days. So for sure, if a person has ill will towards another person and speak Lashon Hara, how great of an avera it is. But I think that there's another lesson to be learned here, and I think I want to focus on that. If the whole lesson of this Parsha is just Lashon Hara, so then why did Hashem have to go out of his way to speak to them and call them together and have a discussion? He could have just given Miriam tzaras. Once she gets tzaras, everyone will know that it's a punishment for her Lashon Hara, because it's common knowledge that tzaras is a consequence of Lashon Hara. So a person could think that maybe Hashem was intervening because Moshe was a little bit insulted. He was insulted that they spoke about him, but that can't be. Because the pasuk in the introduction, before Hashem starts talking to them, the pasuk says that Moshe is none of Mikol Adam. Moshe was more humble than any person who has ever lived. So if that's the case, then of course he wasn't upset. So why is Hashem involving himself? The idea is that Hashem wanted to tell Miriam and Aaron something very, very important. He wanted to say that if a person forgets that Moshe is different from all of the other Nevi'im, even for a moment, it is a fatal flaw in his understanding of Judaism. Why? The idea is that Moshe went up to Har Sinai and received the Torah for the Jewish people from Hashem. Hashem gave the Jewish people the Torah through Moshe. If Moshe would have inserted himself into the Torah just a little bit of interpretation, then what the Jewish people would have gotten is not directly what Hashem gave. And that's a distortion of the Torah. So therefore, for us, it's an absolute necessity to understand that Moshe was none of Mikol Adam. He didn't put himself into the Torah even a little bit. Whatever he got from Hashem, he understood it clearly the way Hashem wanted it to, and conveyed it clearly to the Jewish people. And that's the basis for all of our understanding in Torah. That whatever we got in Har Sinai was direct, clear, from Hashem to the Jewish people. This is why 2 of the Rambam's Yud Gimel Ikrim, 13 principles of Emunah, have to do with Moshe Rabbeinu's Nevuah. And this is also why on Simchas Torah we sing the song Moshe Emes V'Toraso Emes. Have a wonderful Shabbos.